Okay. Hello, guys. Marisa and Papa. We're back. We're here.
Hey, everybody. Hello, everybody.
Nothing unusual going on around here, like our internet's shutting down and stuff like that. We were supposed to be on a while ago, but that's okay. We're back after, how long has it been, Papa? At least a month, right?
I came back on January 5th, and we haven't done a show since. So it's been, what? I don't know. And then we didn't do a show while we were there either.
Yeah, while you were there. Yeah. Everything got all mixed around.
So it's been, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a
since
long
we've
time.
actually.
I've missed the guides. I've missed everybody online. Everybody's been writing, going like, "When are you and your dad going to come back? I miss you guys." Like they're used to watching us like in the afternoon, and we just haven't been here. We just kind of disappeared. So it looks like we've got some comments starting up here. I'm going to let you say hi real quick, and Joy says hi. I'm going to let you say hi real quick, and I'm going to just find something to prop my computer real quick. So I'm going to pop you on the screen, and you can catch everybody up on what you've been doing, and I will return in just a moment.
I haven't been doing anything. I've just been totally retired. As you all know, I'm a Trumper. A lot of people have really put me down for being a Trumper, but I am so excited about what's going on in the United States now. I just felt like the United States was just going downhill really fast, really fast. In fact, I was telling all you folks that used to listen to me when I was doing the Rancha book story of Jesus, that you better get yourself some beans, you better get yourself some rice, big bags of that. Get yourself silver coins and something that you can use that's tangible to trade. Because I really thought the U.S. was just, in 2022, it was definitely headed for the dumps. Definitely headed. I really thought we were going to end up in a World War III, but God intervened. I remember at one point Tucker Carlson coming on saying, "Do you realize there are only 5 days left of diesel fuel?" And I don't know whether he was talking about the United States or the world. If the diesel fuel runs out, trucks don't run. Trucks can't deliver things. I thought for sure we were doomed. But I think the whole thing, as much as I bitched and moaned and complained that Biden was the president and that he cheated and took the election away from Trump, I've come to the conclusion that
It was meant to be.
God wanted it that way. He wanted the dark side to expose themselves, and they definitely did. Over 4 years, they really, really, really exposed themselves for what they are. And fortunately, the United States, they turned the corner and went, well, this Trump guy, he tends to talk a lot, but whatever he says is true, and he does it.
I don't think a lot of people are saying that. So I listened to a girl I used to work with, who you remember her. I'm not going to say her name because I don't want to promote her. But I saw her YouTube video yesterday, or TikTok video. It popped up in my feed, and I don't even follow her. I try to not follow her. And she popped up in my feed, and I was like, "Oh God!" And so I was like, "Okay, I'll listen." The guys obviously put it on there for a reason. Hi, Marissa. Hi, Anna. Hi, Joy. And she was like, "You guys, I've been warning you about this for the past year. I've been telling you to get your beans, get your rice, stock up." She's like, "It's here. The time is here. That it's here. Our doom is here." And she's going on and on about how they need to stockpile their food and how the world's going to go into World War III. I mean, she wasn't very educated to begin with, but I mean, it's interesting how psychics have their own opinions, and that's a good thing. That's why it's a good thing that I don't have a political opinion about things. I've been watching it since you and I started watching it, with you. And I do have some opinions, but I usually just kind of look at the whole thing and think that's fake. I know everyone loves Trump, the people that love him, but I'm like, yeah, he's a human. And actually they're showing him as a human now. They're not just like an orange animation like he was during COVID. He was not, that wasn't him. It just wasn't him. It was an animation of him, but, or an AI or whatever. And we didn't even know about AI then. But I think a lot of it was an AI version of him. But it's interesting, just thinking it's like when you watch a professional baseball game or whatever, it would be to think that like the players hate each other, like on one team to the other. It's like, no, afterwards they give each other a high five, they run into each other at the bar, they have a drink together, they hang out, they do whatever. And I feel like that's kind of how it is in politics. And I feel like they all kind of like know each other, but they just play on certain teams, So I was watching the thing about the fires where President Trump was like ripping the California mayor, or was it the California mayor?
Is the mayor of LA.
The woman.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Mayor Bass.
You have like emergency powers. Why aren't you using them? Like it's just funny how he's just totally like calling her out. She's like, yes, I do. But and I was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the state we are living in forever. I mean, that's all I knew. But and then but one thing that's interesting is on the news they were saying California's not letting the fire trucks in. They're making them go do this and that, and that wasn't true. So because I asked our cross district name, remember he's the fire chief here in Henderson, or one of the places in Henderson here. He's the youngest fire chief ever to be, and he's super cool. He's one of Jeff's best friends. So he was out there the other day and they were drinking beer, and I went out and I said, hey, is it true that they're not letting the fire trucks into California? And he was like, no. He's like, they're letting him in. He said the only thing that they're having to do is just make sure that they're like working to make sure we're not sending like all these like old broken down fire trucks over there. So if it breaks down, then we're like, oh, hey, give us money, California. So he says it just goes through a very simple, just like a check the tires, check everything. He says, plus it just needs to be safe, but he said, no, that's not true. So they're still lying, and the lying in the news, just like, it's like, why are they doing that? Just something as simple as that, like they're trying to make people hate California is what they're doing. Because Jeff was like, oh my gosh, California is so lame. They're not letting the fire trucks in. And I heard it on the news. They're saying, oh, they need to go to a smog inspection. They need to go do this. They need to go do that. And then they can go put out fires. And, but Sean said that wasn't true. So I was like, oh, okay. So they're still lying in the news. They just lie about dumb things. And my conclusion was the guides are saying the whole reason for anything is to trigger people into emotion. And if we're triggered into emotion, we go into our they're calling it like our ocean self, like we go into the Father. And the Father is here to experience life through all of his creations, his Christ consciousness creations, and experience him through emotion. I think my nose is bleeding. Great. It keeps bleeding today. It's so dry and cold out. Hold on.
Yeah, it must be really dry.
Yeah, it's very dry. My hands are my nose is bleeding a little bit. So if I drop off, my hands are so dry. They're like cracking. And I have got a paraffin thing where I keep dipping my hands in it. Me and Madison and Matthew keep dipping our hands and feet in this like wet wax to moisturize them. And they're just getting drier and drier. I look like I have mechanic man hands. It's awful. Anna, it's Anna, my opinion about people's egos when it comes to politics is somebody who's spiritual in nature, or empathic, would not make it in politics. I wouldn't make it in pro sports. I wouldn't make it in politics. I wouldn't make it in anything where, it's that extreme, I mean, I barely made it through being on Hay House, having all those listeners with all that pressure and all those people, looking at you and staring at you and talking about you and all that. So I think that the ego on anybody who's in the limelight like that needs to be like, it needs to be like that, and I realize the ego is our like fear-based self, but it's also like our human, our duality. I mean, think of the amount of people who have voodoo dolls that are Trump and they're poking them every night. I had a friend who they would tell the grandma, no Santeria today, no Santeria, no. And she did like this weird, like Mexican Santeria, like voodoo. And so they'd say, you're not allowed to do it, but you can do it with sports. So she would sit there with little chargers and go, keek, 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 and like poke the needles through their faces and their backs when she was watching sports. And she'd be speaking Spanish, like cursing the players that are out there playing, because she was really into football. And I was our escrow officer down in, it was one of our escrow officers that we had when we were in real estate. This is before I was even like into any of this stuff. I just remember them saying like, grandma's really into the Santeria, and we told her she's not allowed to do it at the house. So we always sage the house. I remember thinking, wow, I know what sage is. It was when I first got into it. And they said, but she gets her voodoo dolls out when she watches the football games. So if you think about the amount of people, and you guys like Anna, you know, you being a spiritual person, like how much we're affected by other people's thoughts, emotions, feelings, and intentions. I mean, even somebody praying about us the wrong way can hurt us. You know, if someone's like, you know, like the other night, my sister was like, I'm praying for you real hard. And I was like, whoa, wait, I don't need to be prayed for real hard. You know, like, whoa, like make sure you're not throwing in any intentions there. She's like, I would not throw an intention in there. I wouldn't be like, I wish that Marisa this, or pray this, and that. She just said she was just praying for my highest and best good. And I was like, okay, good, fine. That's fine. But when someone prays like, you know, God, bring Marisa a better man, or bring Marisa, you know, whatever it is that they think or they're assuming about me, it's messing with the frequencies in my field if they're in a certain level of consciousness. So back to Trump, Biden, like all those people that are willing to put themselves out there in the limelight have like massive amounts of like layers of protection around them or something, because how they function with that amount of people hating them or loving them is like, I wouldn't be able to handle it. My twin asked me to place her 13-year-old in this. Aw, that's sweet. She places crystals on the TV and a bottle of water to support her dad's favorite soccer team. That's so cute. Anna says she places crystals on the TV and a bottle of water. That's funny. That's cool. But yeah, think of the amount of people that are affecting those sports players. So, you know, if they at any point, just like their snow globe cracks open and their field gets open, everything just whoom, rushes in. I mean, that's why a lot of them end up like, remember when who was that Charger who killed himself and he ended up in our session one time?
Yeah. Junior Seau.
Yeah. Junior Seau, because my hair guy happened to be with him the night before, partying with him. And he was the one, and then I got my hair done, and then the hair guy was telling me all about it. And then we had a session that night after I got my hair done, and he showed up in my living room, and he was saying, and he was a Charger, and he killed himself. And didn't he shoot himself in the chest instead of the head so that people could research like his head or something like that, or something like that? But I remember him saying that he was reliving the same fight with his wife over and over and over and over and over and over for eternity. And that it was the worst thing ever. And it was horrible, because anything you're feeling, if you have the guts to kill yourself, is not a good feeling. And to continue feeling that forever is not good. But what had happened to him was, you know, his field got open by doing drugs and drinking and partying too hard. His field ripped open, and probably everybody's thoughts, emotions, and feelings about him over the entire lifetime of his career just went into him, and he lost it. So yeah, I give massive amounts of respect to the people that do go into politics, or even just like, you know, the media people that are trying to tell the truth out there. Like I was saying that I like that girl, Megyn Kelly. She's funny. Yeah. She does have my dad was saying she has a potty mouth. I said, yeah, she's definitely got a potty mouth for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, she reminds me of like one of those people that would be like if she was like a high school reporter, like all those people are like in high school or something, and she's just like not gossiping, but just telling like the news about what's going on, like, but not at a serious level, but also just more of like I don't know. She's funny. I like her. But anyway, so yeah, so the fire thing, I saw that with Trump happening, and then I saw Kamala and the old president not stand up once during that speech, that his acceptance speech.
His inaugural speech.
Yeah, I was like, wow. I was like, this speech, there's no way anyone's gonna be able to turn this bad. Like, there's no way anyone's gonna be able to turn this bad at all. And then but we were watching, I think, CNN on one TV, and then we were just watching like the different kinds of news just to see, because I wanted to watch the energy of them. I wanted to see what was happening. And I was like, okay, his connection's coming in from above. It only went to the side, I think, one time, and I can't remember what it was about. It was about something having to do with money. It came in from the side, which meant he was pulling from facts, not from like his higher self. Like he went into his mind to pull, like he dropped down into ego basically, and was probably telling like a half truth, or maybe just like, you know, rounding up or rounding down or something. But it was like for a split second, and then it went right back to down the middle. But it was just interesting to me, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, how they just kind of like sat there like with their arms crossed. And
I'm surprised. Even Trump was surprised that they were there. You have to remember, Trump didn't go to Biden's inauguration in 2020, but Biden and Harris came to Trump's, and Trump's even said, you know, since then, he said, oh my God, I've been ripping him a new one. And he was sitting right there. He goes, so Yeah, it was a good inauguration speech. Um,
I'm sure the
they were
LGBTQ
they
people got offended with the whole like there's only two genders. I was like, ooh, that's gonna get it. And then the other thing about the mass deportations, I'm sure that people are freaking out about that. I mean, I know a lot of people who are not legally here, but I don't think he's going after them. He's going after the criminals. And I loved that he turned the mafia, or not the mafia, the cartels that are
cartels.
bringing fentanyl over across the borders, killing everyone, killing people. I know lots. I
Yeah.
know 3 people that have died here in Vegas. I know of 3 people that died of fentanyl overdose. I didn't know them personally, but I knew them through that girl that used to work with me. And she used to watch our show too, but she hasn't been around lately. Hope she's okay. But anyways, yeah. So it's been interesting watching like my friends too. Like some people are very like for, some people are very against. But I think the fact is that regardless of whether I like the person who owns Sony or Apple or whatever company I buy the product from, like we never know about their personalities. So like that's the weird thing about a presidency is like people are so concerned about the personality of a person. I really don't care what personality that the president has. I don't care if he's magnanimous and like all like like good like on the camera. I care that he keeps us out of war. I care that he keeps our money worth something, and I care that he keeps us safe. He or she keeps us safe, and that other countries respect him or her, and then they can be the biggest prick in the entire world for all I care. I mean, you know what I mean? It's blending two things together that don't really matter. We don't care if I remember when the Lululemon guy got canceled because he said fat girls weren't allowed to wear his pants. Do you
Who
remember
is that?
that? The CEO of Lululemon,
Oh,
were
no, I
complaining
don't know
about
him.
his pants being see-through, and he said, "Well, because my pants aren't made for people's butts that stretch them out that far." They're made for like little skinny and shape people. And like he got totally canceled. His board fired him off the board. But I mean, obviously he's still the owner of Lululemon. But yeah, people just get so upset about personalities.
Well, one of the things that
Wow.
I don't want to rip on a bunch of people, but uh, when you're trying to convert a country, and this would be Saul Alinsky stuff here. Saul Alinsky taught Obama. He taught Hillary Clinton. He wrote the book.
Oh, that Zelensky
Uh,
guy you used to talk about?
yeah, Saul Alinsky, Rules for Radicals. One of the things that you do to create a kind of like a fascist state is to make sure that the populists are after each other. Put them all in boxes. Everybody's in boxes. So, you're either black or you're white or you're Jewish or you're Christian or you're Muslim or you got curly hair or you got blue eyes. Everybody's against each other. I mean, because it's supposedly to help everybody come together, but what it does is it separates everybody
Yeah, because
by
like no,
it's
everyone.
talking about race. It's race. Everything's race. Everything's race. And then they institutionalized it during Biden, and they call it DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it was included in everything. It was
That's
in the
why Brian. That's
corporations.
why
And
Brian's not alive. Brian died because of that. I swear, because he didn't get hired. 3 black guys that barely passed the class got hired for air traffic controllers. A black guy, a Mexican, and some other somebody that was a race, got hired when Brian passed. Sorry to cut you off, but he passed his air traffic controller school at 99.9%. Passed his test, like everything. He was top of his class, and they didn't hire him because he had to take a test that basically said like, did you like hockey in high school or basketball? Do you like this kind of food or that? Like it asked him all these questions, to figure out, like, it didn't ask him what race he was, but it asked all these questions that like, well, if you played hockey, he's probably a white guy. Like if you played this, it's just like stereotypical things. And he didn't get hired. If he would have gotten hired, he would not have been drinking. He would not have drank himself to death. The kids would have an uncle. Jeff would have his brother. I'd probably have a very, very happy marriage because Jeff wouldn't have gone through that deep depression. It ripped our family apart completely. It still does every day. But the point is that what you just said, that what's it called? Something put race.
it's DEI.
DEI killed my white brother-in-law because he was drinking. He was unhappy. He wasn't on his path. He should have had that job. He should have been doing what he was doing, and he just wasn't, because Obama, and that's why Elaine and Joe went from being like hardcore liberals to like hardcore conservatives after that happened.
Yeah. Well, basically DEI was just racism is what it was. And so Trump has eliminated it. He said, not in the federal government, it's gone.
Wait,
So he eliminated because every agency in the government had DEI departments that would make sure that, you know, an Asian got the job before.
Department for it?
What's that?
They actually had a department for it in the government where they'd be like, okay, let's see how many white people we have here, how many black people.
It was throughout the government in every agency. And the government's a big bloated bureaucracy. He cut it out. No DEI, no DEI, nobody. He's converted us from a DEI to a meritocracy, is what he's called it. Yeah, you get a job based on your merit, based on your skill, and not based on your skin color or your religion or whatever.
That's racist to do that.
So it's gone. It's absolutely gone. And then he signed another executive order today. Pete Hegseth is now is the Secretary of Defense.
Who?
And Pete Hegseth, you might not know who he is. He was on Fox for a long time.
Okay.
Anyway, he's now the Department of Defense. He was given an order by Trump. No transgenders in the military. They're all going to be dropped. Yep, they're all going to be kicked out. Anybody who's been saying, "Oh, I'm transgender," blah 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 blah, they're out. They're gone. They're going to be discharged completely. He says nobody could be readiness to fight and being transgender are two completely different. They're not mutually exclusive. They are mutually exclusive. You can't be ready and a fighter when you're walking around in purple panties. You know, it's not going to happen. So
identifying as men.
Same thing. Anybody who is an avowed transgender is now going to be released from the government.
What if they just re-identify?
Released from the military.
They should be given the ability to re-identify, or be like, oh, okay, well, I identify as this or whatever. Like, not just completely kick them out, because they probably worked hard.
If they do that and then they go back to trying to have drag shows and things like that. It's toast for them. The government, the military was having drag shows and all this other stuff. And they even had ads during the Obama or the Biden administration, showing how tranny the military was. And it was just sickening. And they couldn't get anybody to join the military. They were falling short by like 10,000 troops a month or something. And now that Trump's been elected, young men, maybe women too, are joining the military again because they didn't want to go into a DEI military. So it's gone. It's done. No transgenderism, no DEI, no nothing. So he said, basically what Trump said was, if you don't believe that the sex you are, he doesn't even use the word gender. He says sex. You're either male or you're female. If you can't believe the sex that you are, then you're not good enough to be in the military because you're crazy. He says, we don't want crazy people in the military. We want people who want to defend this country and kill. That's what the military is for, is to kill the enemy. And if you're a guy and you think you're a girl flitting around, then you're crazy. You're crazy.
And that's a rude way to say it. So we have to look at this like what the guides say.
Mentally unstable. Let's put it that way.
What's happening is the people that are transgender are people that are either tuned in multidimensionally to like an androgynous layer of themselves, like an angelic form of themselves. So like as we're moving through the different layers of the planet, as we're moving from like just straight 3D, 2D and 3D, where we're just like we're just like man or woman or whatever. Then we move into, remember, we moved into the 4D, like with like the Mayan calendar ending and all that stuff. We moved into 4D, so everybody's very emotional and stuff like that. And that's where spirit attachments came in. So, you know, little kids were getting spirit attachments at a very young age of like a boy spirit getting stuck to a girl. But really, this all started, all the transgenderism started due to abortion. It's the aborted kids that the moms abort, and then it's still in their field, and then the other kids come through and are born, and they've got like there's extra souls. I mean, abortion wasn't legal prior to a certain time, and if you look back, there wasn't a lot of transgenderism back before abortion was legal, right?
They used to have, it wasn't wide, but it was sort of like a fun thing because they had it in Las Vegas.
Well, yeah,
You could,
like
you could
drag
go,
stuff, but like it wasn't like
they had men who would dress up as women and look like Marilyn Monroe or somebody, and it was pretty much restricted to, you know, Las Vegas shows, and that was it. But all of a sudden, you know, it just everything came out of the closet, so to speak.
Well, there was like a demon. There was this demon that I would see, and because I remember I was working with, remember Marla's son is a daughter now, and that was my old assistant, and like so she exposed me to a lot of people because her sister's daughter turned into a son, so like it was like we're running in the family over there. But so I got exposed to a lot of people that were transgender or like were transitioning. And it wasn't like oh, here, come heal the gay out of my kid, Marisa, or come heal this out of them or whatever. It was more like a why, like what caused it. So I went into the whole transgender thing more of like curiosity, you know, just like I would chart it out and I'd be like, oh, okay, where's their soul? Like their soul's not in their field. It's not resonating with their body and their mind because they've shifted due to jealousy of like their sister. They want to be a girl, you know, when they're a little kid. And then like a girl spirit came into their field and it stuck and they didn't know it was there. Because all these kids are such like mediums. They're all mediums. Like we weren't all mediums. We weren't like connected in with those fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional realms as I mean, all kids, babies are in the early years, but they're connected in with like the God realms. They're not connected in with like the ghost world, you know? So it takes somebody being open to the ghost world or somebody exposing them or them just having that in their field, being able to connect with ghosts and ghosts taking over a body prior to age 7. This is what the guys are saying. Prior to age 7, when the ghosts go into their field before hormones, before all that stuff, you know, boys will want to put on dresses and play and, you know, do all that stuff before they're like 7 because they're really like not really a gender. I mean, they are. I mean, my son screams man, my daughter screams girl. I mean, like that's like there's no way those kids are confused. But like it's, and I know some kids are, but the point is that like I met a kid at Matthew's birthday party and I was like, whoa, he has got so many spirit attachments. And then the mom was telling me that he loves wearing girl clothes. He loves like this and that. She's like, and I'm just letting him be whatever he wants to be. He's only 4. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. You know, but I wanted to like, I gave her the Snow Globe book and it was our last one. I gave it to her. And then I've since found another one. I was happy about that. But anyways, I gave her a Snow Globe book, told her to read it. And hopefully she'll do the Snow Globe on her son to clear that stuff out of his field. But the point is that there's so much stuff going on interdimensionally, like in the extra dimensional realms that we don't see that cause that whole thing. But the point is that, yeah, if you're going to the military, you're like in your root, you're down there, like grounded in like the root reality. You're not up there in the spirit plane. You're not up there. So it's interesting to me that anybody could join the military, be in that root chakra and still like be like, oh, I want boobs, you know, like, or like, you know, but it feels very like when I was working with the kids, a lot of where that came from was they were watching a lot of YouTube. They were getting like brainwashed by stuff that they were watching. They were seeing, oh, I've got these symptoms, or I feel this, or I feel that, or, you know, they're feeling things. And then they're looking up their symptoms of like, you know, I don't feel like I'm connected to my body. I don't feel like I love my body. And then it's like, oh, you're transgender, or, you know, whatever. You may be identifying as a different gender. So it's like, we feed these kids this stuff. And there was a show on Nickelodeon that the kids were watching the other day, and Jeff's like, we both saw it at the same time. We're like, turn that off. It was the teacher on one of these kids Nickelodeon shows comes in wearing big boobs, and they're like, oh, and he was like, it came with the sweater, and they were like, all okay, like they didn't say anything about it. It was just kind of like, what's going on with your shirt, you know? And he's like, oh, they just came with the sweater, and it was like, that is so like not like appropriate to have on a Nickelodeon like sitcom, you know?
No.
But yeah, it's all throughout the media, and I've been psychotic about the media and what the kids watch and what they listen to and all that lately, because the guides have been hammering it into my head that what you watch is much more powerful than what you eat. Like what you watch, what you listen to, what you surround yourself with our sensory these days, because of what we're seeing, because what we see, we create. What we hear, we create. That's interesting that your hearing went away. On which side, Papa?
My right ear is completely gone.
The
Yeah.
right is the physical. So on the left
Well,
side.
my right, I don't know. My right ear is where I had the ear surgery, I don't know, 25 years ago. Because growing up surfing in cold water, facing west and having the north wind blow in your right ear, then the bone ossifies. It just starts closing up to protect the inner ear. And so that's why I had to have surgery, God, when was it? 2000 and
That's
where we're in Escondido. So
yeah, that
it
was
was
1991 or 1990.
1989. No, 1991, something like that.
91, I think, is when we were there.
Yeah, I had ear surgery then, but I think what's happened is the bone has probably been closing up. But when I went to go see my doctor, when I was there with you, few weeks ago, she said, "Oh, it looks fine. Everything looks fine in there. A little bit of wax, but." So I don't know. I guess I need to go see somebody and find out. She didn't say that the bone had closed up, but I can't hear. Yeah, I can't hear in my right ear. It's very frustrating because I always turn to my left when I hear something. Something can be happening on my right, but I always turn to the left because I hear it in my left ear.
Oh.
And so I'm always turning this. I'm never quite sure where sound is coming from.
Oh, geez. Well, be careful about traffic. That's
it's very frustrating.
I heard you last night. Were you awake at like 3 a.m? I heard Marisa, and I was like, that was Papa. I had gotten up and I'd fallen asleep on my chair and down in the room there where you stay when you're here, and fallen asleep in the chair, making a logo or something for a new class that I'm going to be teaching called the ABCs, like SEES, like teaching people how to be clairvoyant. I'm going to teach the snow globe and the 12-story building, all of our little teachings that we had, teaching people how to see. But I was trying to make a logo for that, and I just fell asleep, and all of a sudden I just heard Marisa, and it was your voice. It was your voice. So I jumped up and I went, Papa? And then I was like, wait, I'm talking to Papa. Papa's in Mexico. That was weird. And so then I got up to go over to the computer so I could text you and make sure you were okay. I was like, I hope he's okay. I hope I'm not getting like a message. He's in spirit and he's here to see me. It was like, it was that clear. It was that clear. I didn't feel you around. I just heard you. And then I was typing, and then I saw a message from Mama and someone else. So I responded to them. And then maybe like 10 minutes later, it was when I finally texted and said, you're okay, right? It felt like you were okay. I was like, you're okay, right? And then I heard, okay, Pooker. Like, and like loud as day, just heard, okay, Pooker. That's his nickname. He calls me for my entire life. And then nothing else. And that's why when I was like, whoa. And I thought of when you heard Tawny. Remember when?
Yeah. No, I was sitting outside and Tawny came walking out and said something. And I said, what? And then she wasn't there. And I went back in. She was in her bed. So yeah, that was very weird. That was very weird.
Anna here says,
but I was
every couple of months.
What's that?
Anna here says that happens to me every couple of months. She hears her dad call her name. But is your dad alive, Anna? Or is he passed? Obviously, my dad's alive. Yeah, it's. I'm sorry, Papa. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to share that. And Anna said that happens to her. Anybody else hear their parents yell their name, like when they're half asleep, half awake? It's so weird.
Well, I was looking at my watch because I'm looking at I know that I went to sleep at about 1 o'clock last night. Because when it gets too late, I have to force myself. But I went to my sleep, and I went to sleep at about 1 o'clock, and I slept for 1 hour and 56 minutes. And I had a break. I don't remember going to the bathroom. Normally, I would get up and go to the bathroom, but my watch says there was a break.
Yeah. Okay.
After 1 hour and 56 minutes, there was a break. And then it picked up, and I slept another 3 hours and 16 minutes, because that would be when normally when Tawny comes in and says goodbye to me when she goes to school. So
3:39.
So I think
what time would it
so
be? 3:39 a.m.
One, if I slept 156 and then woke up, the watch, I guess when you move around, the watch stops having you asleep. And then when you finally settle back down again, it starts counting the time again. So I know that I went to sleep about 1 o'clock last night. I
But what
forced
time would that be
myself.
my time? Would that be 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock?
1 o'clock would be 12 o'clock your time, and I slept for 1 hour and 56 minutes, so 2 hours. So basically, I woke up around 3 o'clock my time, which would be about 2 o'clock your time. But
Okay.
but I was by 3 o'clock your time, I was already sound asleep again.
Okay. So I texted you at 3 o'clock in the morning and I said, Papa, are you okay? I heard your voice as clear as day. So that was at 3 o'clock, but that was the second time I heard it. So the first time I heard it must have been like, yeah, you said, well, Marisa. Yeah, because I said, you said, well, Marisa, then you were gone. I have the chills, Papa. I swear you were here. Yeah, you said, well, Marisa, and then you said, okay, Pooker, the second time. But yeah, so it must have been right around that time when you woke up and then were maybe falling back asleep. Let me ask the guides. I want to ask the guides. So Peter's here. He's like, finally. He wanted to be acknowledged. Peter is here and Jesus is here and Sophia is here. And there's a weird energy outside the house that's trapped outside the house. I think Yanni, good job, Yanni, if you're watching this. We have a cool little exercise that the guides channeled for her where she can remove magic and stuff from people's fields. And I think that by doing that, she trapped this thing outside of our house. It's like going grr, grr. It's like trying to get in. It keeps ramming its head up against the outside because I didn't remove it. She did whatever she did with it. And I'm coaching her. So I was teaching her, walking her through it, but I never finished. But it's like banging its head up against the side of the house, but he can't get in. It's like a werewolf or something. So I'm going to ask Jesus if he could just get him to go there. He went, whoosh, he like threw him out. He threw him away. Interesting. Okay. Well, let me just say a prayer real quick. Peter says, let's say a prayer. He says, Peter's saying the Lord's Prayer.
Okay.
And he's just saying, he says, I'm saying it for you. He said, he's sitting over in this weird little thing that's like it's like a round little, area with like, it's like kind of like our Tupperware bowls that we used to talk about, or like the tennis balls, like within each other. He looks like in the center of like a tube, like a circle, and then there's 1, 2, 3 like concentric circles, I guess is the word he's using, outside of them, and one is red, one is yellow, one is green, one is blue. And he's in the middle of like this white circle in the middle. And he's doing he's got his knees bent. He's sitting on his like shins. I've never seen him praying like that before, or sitting like that. I've never seen him the way I'm seeing him right now, ever. I usually see him as a hologram, like dancing around like a goof over here. But he's like, he's sitting, like kneeling down, praying. And he was saying that, he says, all jokes aside, he says, he had so much reverence for the Father, so much respect for the Holy Spirit, because he knew that when this Holy Spirit ran through him, that he could perform the miracles that Jesus performed, and that all of them could. And there was just this, he's saying it's like a raw dedication to knowing that you're something more when you allow this into you. So he was always like, he never felt like real confident with himself. So he was always like praying for more protection, more ability, more connection, more this, more that. And he says that's the reason why he says that's the reason why I was the favorite. He's joking. He's like, no, I'm not joking. He's like, yeah, I was the favorite. Was he the favorite? He says,
no, John supposedly was the favorite one.
No, I'm the favorite. They're like joking. They always tease each other. John said, and then I just heard Rosemary way over there. But Rosemary is like Rosemary to me looks like she's a fairy. Like she looks like she's like I think that we've ascended to a higher level, Papa, because Peter looks very real, and he's very like in like this tube, and this tube of light is coming down, and it's like running over him. And he's like in a meditative state, and his meditation is the hologram dancing around in here. Oh, you're frozen.
I am?
Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, no, that's on YouTube. You're frozen. I'm frozen.
Oh.
It'll unfreeze in a second. Yeah, no, we're fine. So I'm going to channel them. I'm going to click this over to Timothy. He says, the earth has ascended. the earth has entered into the place where we have been speaking of. For the days are, it says, the days are nearing whereby this dimension will no longer exist. It won't exist anymore. This is the remnants of a world that you don't even live in anymore. For we have told you time and time and time again. Peter says, I said the prayer, don't worry, everything's protected. Because I went, wait, what about the prayer? He says, I said it. I said, oh, okay. And Sophia's over there going like sending like all this like energy, just like towards the house, just like boosting us up super high. And Sophia looks just like me, by the way. I've never seen her look like me. I always see her as a cartoon, like kind of like a cartoon character, not like a, like, you know, just like a animation. That's how I see her. Now I see her. She looks just like me. She's wearing a pearl necklace around her neck, and she's got a little diamond hanging down, the pearl necklace, the diamond, and the diamond is shooting out light. And inside of the diamond, I see me talking. Like I'm inside of the little diamond. Like I'm her hologram. Like I'm a hologram of her, and she's me. Wow, that's so cool. Rosemary's like, but I'm you and you're me too. She's like way down there. She's like got her teeth all jacked up, and she's just like a little tiny person. And Rosemary's saying, see, look at the link. And you can see her, you can see like all these different versions of me, and then you can see like my higher self that I saw that night. And then it like kind of just like weaves up like this, and then it goes to Sophia, and then behind Sophia I see Mary, the Mary that comes in and yells at everybody in class. That Mary. Not, I don't think it's Mother Mary. I think it's like my higher self or something. Yours, I see you as like you have like this like rope hanging down from your like it kind of weaves through you, and it goes down at your foot. And I can see like you're like 34 years old or something, and you're hanging on for dear life to this rope that's hanging off the bottom of your foot, so you don't like fall into hell. What were you doing at 34? Let's see, that would be in 70
19, that would have been 1984. 1984, and well, at the end of 1984, I turned 35, but I was 34 during 84, and 84 was when the Padres went to the World Series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I was doing wrong. I don't think I was doing anything wrong.
You just weren't into God. You just weren't into God at all.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you weren't into God. So they're saying there's nothing. It's not about right or wrong. It's just about whether you feel supported or not. And you were just like hanging on by a thread, just like by a rope, just hanging on for dear life to your higher self. Because I see you now sitting there, and I see the little rope hanging down, and you got like your little self down there. I'm gonna go ahead and help him up, like pull you up. And it's just the you that it's like kind of like your emotional body, I guess, is what that represents. And he's just hanging on there. So I see Jesus going, here, let me help you up, buddy. And he's like pulling you up, and you're going up into your higher self, into your big self, because you are definitely your big self now. But you used to be, Sophia says, prior to October 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, those days whereby everything began to shift, you were you down there hanging on by the rope. You were the emotional body. You're the hologram of yourself. But now you've got full access to your soul body, which is one of the reasons why you don't have pain and certain things. But you will run into other ailments when you step into soul consciousness, because the soul has past lives, has past things that it's gone through, past scars, things of this sort. So you need to ask for the healing of your soul body. If you want your hearing to come back, you just have to ask for the healing of your soul body, anything that's past, present, or future that the soul has experienced, whereby it didn't have hearing or it lost its hearing, it transfers over to the different lives. And this is the issue with the world right now. Everybody's going to start experiencing these strange things in their own bodies, and they're going to wonder, what in the world is going on with me? And it's because their other lives are going to start affecting this life. Only certain individuals on the planet up until this point had access to their soul's consciousness and awareness and the spirit of their soul. So they weren't necessarily like walking in soul consciousness. Everyone was walking in spirit consciousness inside of their human with their ego. So they're going ego, spirit, back and forth, fear, love. And that was the human experience. Now the human experience is being the soul. So you are, in essence, look at it like this. Movie theater. You were sitting in a movie theater before watching a movie. That movie was the life that your soul produced and put on for you to watch as a little fragment of yourself, as a little spirit. That spirit watched, and then watched so much that it fell in and then forgot that it was just watching a movie or playing a game or doing whatever it is. So it didn't have control over creating that life. Now there's the projector room where the soul will send its thoughts, and that projector will create the movie. What's happened is the earth has moved out of the movie screen, through the movie theater, up into the projection room, and out of the movie theater. So the earth has completely left the building. So anybody on earth must leave the building too, because you're on earth. So many people are going, this is weird. I don't feel real, or this reality is so strange. Like, what's going on? Because they're going from playing an actor in a play, playing an actor in a movie, to being the witness, watching them play the actor in a play, to actually being the actor. So you can be the actual, you can be Harry Potter, then you can be the actor that plays Harry Potter in the movie, knowing that you're an actor playing Harry Potter. Then you can be Harry Potter in the movie, not acting, just knowing that just thinking that that's you, just thinking I'm Harry Potter. That's who I am. So just fully falling for the lie, fully falling for your own creation. Then there's the you sitting outside the movie theater that's watching Harry Potter, but you are Harry Potter, and realizing that you have some sort of control over your experience watching the movie or playing the game, because you get to control your emotions and feelings about it. So if Harry Potter dies in the movie, you can either be really sad and depressed, or you can be like, oh, okay, I wonder what I could learn from this. And knowing that you're just the witness, knowing that you're just God experiencing life through all of God's creations. Now you can move up and you can go into the higher self-consciousness. And the higher self-consciousness is not emotionally attached to Harry Potter, isn't attached to being Harry Potter. And this brings about kind of like a disconnect from the real world. And a lot of children have this, where they become ungrounded. They're not grounded in their witness anymore. They're not grounded in watching their own life. They're going into other people's witnesses. They're going into other people's characters. Everything's blending because nobody's grounded. When you go into the projector room, you're basically God, neutrally experiencing life through all of your creations. You're just the light, and you're just shining down on the screen, and you are being dictated by the soul. So the soul is outside of here thinking up stuff. And every time the soul thinks something, it happens. It happens. The light shines down on the screen. It creates the projection of the reality, and it gets to experience life through all of its creations, meaning the things it thinks up. The highest self is the soul at this point that we can connect in with. And Joe, you have access to this. This is why we are speaking of the outdated remote control. The earlier today when when me and Johnny were doing the clearing, we saw like an old Nintendo remote that needed to be updated. So look at it like this: the soul outside of the movie theater has a remote control in its hand, and it's controlling everything inside of the movie. It's controlling the witness. It's controlling what the witness sees, what it experiences, what it does. It controls whether it falls into the movie. It controls whether it comes back out of the movie. It controls whether it goes up to the movie screen room and becomes the light. So the soul is in essence in control of everything. So it's truly a soul experience that human beings are having at this time. A lot of people will not be able to handle being the creators of their own reality. They will create the same past over and over and over and over and over and over, because that's all they know. They've been watching this movie for so long that they're just going to continue creating the same movie. When the movie's over, it's done. We are no longer in a movie. We are creating our reality in this present moment right now. So what we want, we need to think about what we want. What we get is going to be what we are wanting. And understand that when you look at the worst possible thing, if your goal each time you look at any sort of situation is to find all the problems, to find the worst possible outcome, just to protect yourself from being disappointed, don't do that anymore, because that will create that for you. Be positive, be excited about life, be compassionate with yourself, be someone who looks forward to each day by knowing that each day we start fresh and we can create a whole new life. Now, from the soul's consciousness, if you will go into the soul's consciousness, say, take me into the soul's consciousness that holds the remote, the one that's holding on to the remote, the one that's in charge of me. And understand and know that when you say me, you mean the soul. So ask that your me be identified with your soul now. And many of you will do this, and it'll be the first time you've entered into your soul's consciousness since you were 3 years old, because when you're 0 to 3 years old, this is when you sit in your soul's consciousness. You get your brain programmed by the world around you. You look around, you witness, you watch, you see. You have no power to create anything because you're just a baby. But this is the last time many of you were in this soul's consciousness was 3 years old. So as you enter into it, as you enter into it, you'll see that you'll feel more powerful, but you may feel uneasy. Just remember, practice doing this each day. Say, I am my me, take me into my soul. And then what you will feel, dear children, is you'll feel me behind you. You'll feel me, Yeshua, Christ, whatever you want to call me at this point. This is the Lord on high is what he's calling himself. The Lord on high. Is the Lord on high Jesus or is it God?
Same thing.
Same thing. Okay. He says the Lord on high. He's saying, whoa, the energy is so strong. I don't know if I can channel this. Oh my gosh. Let me drink some water. This is really strong. He says, it's like screaming. He's like, I am the Lord on high, connected and anchored in with the Holy Spirit. I am the Holy Spirit manifest. For the Holy Spirit is an essence. The Holy Spirit is a desire. The Holy Spirit is that which is my will to be done each day. My will to be done each day comes through this form that I am. This form that I am entering in as right now is not Samuel. Samuel is down there as a hologram. You have seen the hologram of that which I animate within the movie screen. As I enter in at this time, I'm entering in through a block system, blocks of energy entering into this channel, thereby being translated and transported into words coming through the mouth. But I enter in without emotion. And that is the thing that is very hard for people to understand, because people think, oh, emotion is what you feel. Emotion is your feelings, but it's not. It's the information that enters into you that you then interpret and emote about. So you emote about certain things that enter into your field, and that's your interpretation of it. So as I enter in right now, I'm bringing in this block system of information, thereby bringing in the frequency and the information that anybody needs that is watching at this time, that needs to connect in with their soul's consciousness. So asking now, I am my me. Now take that me into my full soul's consciousness and allow me to feel the presence of God within me. Allow me to feel the presence of God and the Holy Spirit. If you want to use those words, you can just use God. You can just use divinity. You can use whatever it is you feel comfortable with. Allow me to feel that within me. Allow me to feel what that triggers within me, because what this is, it's not emotions that we're putting in you. It's not love. It's not dedication. It's not any of these things. That's for different levels of consciousness. Right now, the soul just needs information. And that information brings about a knowing and an understanding of why you're here and what you're doing and where you're going. And as you know where you're going and what you're doing, you feel confidence, and then you feel happiness. So it's the information coming through that's going to give you this feeling of comfort and this feeling of knowing that everything's going to be okay. Now, there are a lot of people that are losing people right now. People are dying. There's a lot of people dying. It's because these people cannot, will not, or do not understand the magnitude of what's happening on the planet right now. The magnitude. If you do not have an upper chakra system that is activated, these packets or these bricks of information that are coming into everybody will come into your field and will quite literally feel like your chest is being pushed on. Your throat will feel like it's being choked. Your heart will race. You'll feel like you have no access to anything within your own head. It'll feel wishy-washy and swishy, and just that no upper energy centers with an upper energy center aspect of self trying to enter into your body is it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So what you may do is ask if you personally have any of your upper chakras shut down. If you live in primal fear, if you live in like scarcity mindset meaning you think that everything's going to be gone no matter what. You always think everything's going to be gone. There could be 15 pizzas delivered to the house and you would be scanning to make sure everyone's not eating it. You think that everyone's going to take all the jobs, all the just whatever it is that you're looking for, you think it'll be gone. People with that scarcity mindset cannot enter into their creation solar plexus, because the solar plexus is all about creation. What you think, you create. So understand that what you must do is bring about an understanding. And the thing is that many people that don't have their chakras activated on the top chakras, they're not going to see this. But these may be your family members. These may be your friends. These may be people that when you talk to them, there's just nothing underneath the surface, food, weather, and politics, or even if you even talk politics, there's something missing. There's just something out there, and it's a upper chakra system. So asking that your family members, asking that your loved ones that are ready to have their upper chakra system activated, ask that they be activated in the highest and best way, in alignment with their soul's mission or their soul's path. And it will wake those up that need to be woken up, that should have already been woken up. Just that mere thought while you're in your soul, asking that they be woken up. Don't sit there and obsess and pray about it constantly and go, oh, I want to wake them up. Because now you're going into an ego trip thinking that you can do something that they can't do. That's not the case. You just know about it and they don't. So they can do the same thing. They can pray for whoever they want and those people can wake up. So it's all about praying for somebody else that they wake up and plug in and do whatever it is they need to do in order to be a part of this. He's saying that just pray for your family, pray for your friends, and know and understand that everything will be set soon. What's set? Ooh, whoa, that was weird. Whoa. Let me click it over to both of us. There we are. Now we're both on here. Oop, there we go. There we go. Okay. Whoa, that was weird. That was very, I've never channeled an energy like that before. It was like I felt like, not Minecraft, but it felt very like I just thought of Holly's symptoms. I wonder if the upper chakra system like would cause somebody to feel like, like lightheaded and, stuff like that. Cause I just felt like all of a sudden I was like, oh, I hope all my chakras are activated. And they said, no, that's why you did the chakra cleanse. Cause we did a chakra cleanse and we activated everyone's chakras and I did all my family members and stuff like that too. But, Sophia is laughing right now and she's watching TV. Why is she watching TV? She says entertainment on the television is good. Laughing is good. She says anything that makes you angry, don't watch it. Anything that makes you afraid, don't watch it. She says just watch entertaining things. She says because that's entertaining. And she's like laughing. I don't watch anything on TV really, but I'm still tripping out this block that's in me. It's like going through me. It's like going through and it's like changing all these things inside of me. And you've got one behind you and Jesus is standing right behind you, but Jesus is huge, like humongous. I've never seen him so big in my life. Like he's huge. He's got the earth literally in his like lower abdomen area. And it's just like spinning, like there's earth there. And I can see all of us on earth. And then like, he's just like there. And he's got his hands, one hand on your left shoulder, one on your right. And I just heard like, I got you, buddy. That's what he said. I got you, buddy. I got you, buddy.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are friends over there. And it's like, I mean, your friend's here too, but he was like, I got you, buddy. And he just like patted the back of your back, like on that itchy spot that you get on your back. That's what he's healing right now. You get that itchy spot. Matthew gets it too. And he's always like, Mommy, itch my back. And I'm like, oh, you got that same itchy spot as Papa has. You've always had that.
Yeah. It's just below my left shoulder blade.
That's the spirit door. That's what we learned. It's a spirit door. It's where our spirit lives. That's where our spirit lives inside there. So when others
always itches.
Huh?
It always itches.
It always does?
Constantly.
Oh wow.
No, my back in that spot always itches. I use a I've got a comb here right now, but I normally use a little back scratcher.
I've got your back scratcher here. You may have left it behind, but yeah.
No, I've got a back scratcher.
Well, everybody knows in my class.
So it's always see. There's my back scratcher.
Oh,
there
yeah.
it is. Best.
You have one here. I have one here. It's like there's Papa's back
the
scratcher.
Best invention ever.
Wall. You're like a bear. It's like, oh, there's Papa rubbing up the wall. He's always like scratching his back. But
yeah.
That itchy. There's Mama. Mama's saying hi. Hi, Mama. That spot on your back. I didn't have it itch once when I was pregnant with Madison. It used to always itch when I first got opened up to mediumship. It would start tickling, and then I listened to a guy. I think it wasn't John Holland, It was somebody's mediumship tape. I listened to it because somebody gave me a CD and I was like, I'll listen to it. I didn't want to listen to other people's teachings, but I remember my teacher saying, go to other people's classes, not to learn what to do, but to learn what not to do. Like go to other people's classes to learn what not to do in classes. So I took the class, the mediumship class, and he says, and your spirit door is on your left shoulder, right behind your heart. And isn't our heart on our right side? Where's our heart?
It's,
right hand over our heart.
No.
So it's on the left.
I don't know. I know it's off center. It's not exactly in the center, but I don't know whether it's off to the right or to the left. I think it's on the left side.
So yeah, that's our spirit goes into our body. It ignites when we're a little tiny fetus and our heart just starts beating. That's when a spark from the earth and then our consciousness from Christ comes down, and they have an immaculate conception, and they create our soul. And that soul goes directly into the mind, into the brain, to start recording stuff and start programming the brain and then receiving stuff. But it has like its little foot stuck into like our heart, and that's where our spark is. And that spark ignites our heart, and that beats our heart until the day that we die. But that spirit, that little spark that's in our heart will sense other people that are on the spirit plane too. So like if you're around somebody who kind of has access to that layer of themselves, and you'll feel like a little tickle back there, because it's like your spirit connecting with their spirit. So when you're connecting when you feel that itch, that's you connecting to a spirit, or a spirit trying to communicate with you, because we stay in our heart our entire lives. We're just right there in our heart. And on that level, that's what communicates. And that us is standing like in the heart, looking into a mirror, and that mirrored reflection of us is the us that thinks it's our spirit, and it's the us that thinks it's our ego, and it's the us that kind of roams around over. Remember when Jesus used to say, you're living in a reality where you believe that you're your right leg. He used to say that all the time, where you think you're your right leg. But what I see is us standing on the left side, looking into the mirror, and then the mirrored us going like, oh, sweet, I'm a person. And then diving down into our foot and like, ascending through our body into all our different 12-story building. But all the meanwhile, our spirit, untouched, like stays over here in our heart, and just like it's the us in the movie theater. That's us in the movie theater. The us in our heart is the one in the movie theater. The screen is over here on the right side of our body, and we're watching the movie over here on the right side. And that us that falls in is the one that's moving around inside the movie theater. And then our higher self, I'm seeing on you at least, and on me, I'm seeing our higher self kind of standing over here to the side of us. And that was the us that's outside of the movie theater, like looking in. Madison says that her door to her body is, I think she said it was her right ear. Madison is seeing everything that I see times like a million. I'm going to start doing a little daily show with her. She wants to do a show with me, but it's going to be private. Jeff doesn't want her online. I don't want her online either, but we're going to do a little show. So she said yesterday, she said, Mommy, I don't think that there's any portals attached to this game over here, because I'm real big on portals and the kids playing video games and attaching to other people's homes and their energy coming in and messing with us and us all fighting and whatever. But she says, but look at the Xbox. And I could see her. She was standing out in front of the house, and she was looking in at the house, and there was a huge portal. And I said, Madison, where are you standing right now? She says, in front of the house. And I said, I knew it. She's standing in front of the house. Like, I mean, you can't I didn't plant any seeds. I didn't say like, oh, are you standing out in front of the house and witnessing our house from the outside in? Like, she's got my abilities like 10,000%. Like, and I've never really done anything with it. I'm not going to expose her to the spirit world, but she's already exposed. She calls it I got her this shirt. She calls it the being in the future. She said that when she gets she calls it the destroy the earth feeling. She says she feels like she's going to destroy the earth. And it made me think of when Anya was doing a meditation in my dark room, and she was crying in the room. I couldn't find her anywhere for like 20 minutes she was young. She was like 10. And I finally found her in my dark room where I had a sound healing table in there. And she was crying, and she said, I got pulled up out of the earth, and I was crying because I had destroyed the earth. And I was looking over it, and it wasn't what I wanted it to be. And I was just crying and crying and crying. And she says, and it looked like it was like a rock, or like just like a dead rock. And I was like, did it look like a pumice stone? And she says, yeah, sort of. And I was like, oh my gosh, I had just had that experience where I'd come up out of a pumice stone, and I was hovering over this pumice stone, and I saw myself dead. And when Madison was like 16, and her and Jeff were like looking over my body or whatever, but it was the most horrible, horrible vision to see yourself dead in the future. But I came up out of a pumice stone, And so I got really obsessed with pumice stones. And then Anya was like, I think that's the earth. And I was like, well, that makes sense. If we're coming out of the rock, we're coming out of the earth, we're ascending out of it into something else. But I got Madison this shirt. It says the future. I got it yesterday at the thrift store. But Madison swears it's not coming up out of her. She says it's when we're in the future. She says when she's in the future, she gets the destroy the earth feeling. She says, and then she says she drew a picture. That's Jeff. I give him the little TikTok. His ring used to be, and that was too annoying. So I made it a little TikTok sound. But Madison says that when she gets that destroy the earth feeling, where she just, that feeling, it's that, I think she's talking about impending doom. You're not feeling like where just you feel like something really bad's going to happen, but you don't know what it is. And you just feel real like cold and like, you just feel like disconnected. Do you ever get that feeling, Papa, where you just feel like real, like, it's like a passing feeling. It like comes and goes, and it's just like really like a horrible feeling. It's not a good feeling. I call it not feeling real. I don't feel real.
No, whenever I feel something like that, it's when I'm driving, and it's only occasionally, like once a year or once every 2 years or something. I'll be like, am I really doing this?
Oh yeah.
Is this really happening? And that's the extent of it. But I don't think I've ever seen any doom and gloom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get that when I'm driving too, where I'll be like, I wonder what would happen if I just like turn the wheel and hit the wall. Like, is this like real? Yeah, you get that feeling. And that's the guys have explained to us. That's when we pass through where somebody has crashed and we're in a theta brainwave, when we go into like our robot mode where we're driving, and then we get somewhere, we're like, whoa, I don't remember driving here. It's because we go into like a theta brainwave. And when we go into a theta brainwave, it's almost sleep, but we're awake. Our higher self kind of takes over, and then it's picking up on all the energies around us. So if somebody crashed into a wall right there, we'll be like, oh, crashed into a wall, and like we'll start experiencing it. But what she's saying interests me, because I used to say that Trump was from the future. Remember? I said he was from the future. So Madison embellished on what she was saying. She drew a picture. I had it, and I don't know where it is, and I don't want to go try and find it, but it was a picture of her. And then it was a picture of like a her right there, and then a her in like a little jail, like it looked like a little igloo. And she said the igloo is in her right foot. And I was like, oh man, Papa's going to like die when Madison starts talking about being in the right foot and being in here and there. But I haven't told her anything. I'm not like all, oh, well, that means this or that means that. I'm just like, all okay. I'm just totally, because I've specifically not told her anything, or even asked her like, what was it like in heaven? Remember, you used to ask Tommy that, or you still do? I won't even like ask him anything or tell him anything. I'm bummed that I've taken him to church, but they're programmed by like what the church people talk about. I can hear it in like when they start talking. So I kind of want to unprogram a little bit with that, but they need something. But anyways, I'm going to start full blown like teaching Madison about this stuff, because she's having experiences where she just doesn't feel right in her body, and she feels weird, and she doesn't feel real. But she says in the future, everything, I always see it. She says, and Mommy, it's really annoying because then it just happens again. And then I just experience it again. She says, it's when I'm at school and I get bored. She says, I just go into my daydream and I get to go into the future. And she's like, but when I come back, that's when I feel the destroy the earth feeling. So I think she's going between like reality, and I've always said we live in the future, and then this is the past, but it's actually kind of the future. So like we've already lived life, and then we've got a piece of us that's living like in lag time, kind of experiencing, living it all in different ways. Like there's an us that's already lived it a certain way, and then we're like, oh well, why don't I do it to where like if I turn left instead of right, why don't I do it this way? Because like we just experience life in all the different ways that we can. And we just happen to be, when we're in our ego and our spirit, we just happen to be one of the little tiny versions of us. Remember, they told us, how many Earths did you have? They told us when the Big House, Little House. I listened to it the other day. The Big House, Little House taping that we did. They told you had like 8 other yous living 8 other lives or something like that, like 6 or 7 other Joes. And you're like, oh, whoa, which Joe am I? And they're like, well, you're this Joe. And there's all these other Joes. And it was very confusing. And they were like, but Big Joe experiences them all. And they said, yes, Big Joe experiences them all. So what Peter's saying is, when you become Big Joe, you become the Joe that lived all the different realities. When you fall into like the screen, like become the witness and you fall into the screen, you're just falling into one particular reality. And that's when people get trapped in a certain reality and they can't manifest from there. They can't create their own reality from there. You have to get up and out and into your big self. But most people have not even been in their big self ever. So the earth is going to shift. It's going to change. He says, even your lovely president that you love, that this is Peter, he says, your lovely president, he says, he will change. everybody will change. You're going to see everybody change. And it's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's coming in like 2 weeks. Like 2 weeks. It's this that they want us to go on during the week every day, like even if it's just for 30 or 40 minutes, just to give an update on the energy of what's going on. Because everyone thought the election was like the big time of the president taking over, but no, this next 2 weeks is going to be huge for people, because people are going to like there's people coming back into my life that like, it's so random, and I'm just like, whoa, where did that person come from? Like, they just called out of the blue, and they're like, just wanted to connect. And it's like, I can feel them yanking me back down into like the movie, they're trying to pull me back down into the movie. And I'm like, nope, 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 nope. I'm leaving the movie, I'm going out of the movie. Don't want to be in there anymore. I want to be in control of my movie. So they're saying that we live life in lag time. Our soul creates it, and then we live it as if we didn't create it. And that's the whole game. That's the whole game, is like not remembering that we're the one who created it. But Earth has never been a 5D planet for 26,000 years. So most souls that live here haven't remembered living in a 5D body, being able to create and instantly manifest, instantly. So the quickness that we're going to get the things that we want, it's going to be like instant. So just be careful with what you want, because it will come very quickly. And like they're saying, with you, with like Drew, it's like, if there was a piece of you that was over the relationship prior to, this happening, this was just kind of like the thing that solidified it in the physical world. It's like, if you're with somebody, for reasons other than like just madly in love and just want to be together forever. Like, if you're with somebody for that reason, any other reasons other than being like madly in love with somebody, they're not talking to just you, they're talking to everyone. If you don't love somebody, you're not like in love with this person, and you're not like with them for that reason, you're just like, oh, we do it because it's cheaper, it's too expensive to get a divorce, or like, it's like, it's just, we're like roommates, but like we're married. Like Peter's saying, that's like it's like a sacred contract coming together in God and becoming one soul together. And if you don't love each other, then there's really no reason for you to be together, because in this reality that we manifest what we want as soon as we want it. If we want love, we can have love. And if we don't want love, then we'll have one of those relationships where it's like, oh, you leave me alone, I leave you alone. That's good. Okay, I don't want love because I'm scared of love. So yeah, this is good. This is perfect. So it's figuring out where we are in our relationships, figuring out where we are in our families, figuring out where we are at our work, because you may walk into work tomorrow and they may say, we're letting you go. And you're going to be like, what? I'm like #1 employee. And they'll just be like, yeah, this. And it's because you don't love your job, or you don't like, it's like you're in your mind, you're thinking like, man, I really wish that I could be retired. Well, guess what? You just got retired. So they're saying like, just be very aware of what it is that you want, because you're going to get it fast. Yeah. Like in terms with what it is that you want. Like,
no, I just keep thinking right now, when we were doing shows in November, there was something, and I'm probably going to have to go back and listen to the show. You said in 90 something days, something's happening over the next 90 something days, and it's going to end on 90 something days. And I said, oh, that's Valentine's Day. I remember adding it up, and I said, oh, well, that's going to be Valentine's Day. So you're saying in about 2 weeks, things are going to be changing over the next 2 weeks. Well, Valentine's Day is going to be in a little over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But something, I don't. Do you remember what it was? What was it that
I remember it's when the attunement started. They said something like, I thought they said like 167 days, but I do remember them saying,
it was 116 days or something like that. And
Aaron,
I did the calculation. I went, oh my God, that's Valentine's Day. But I can't remember what.
Earth will complete its ascension on Valentine's Day, which is interesting, seeing is that's like the love day, right? Like Valentine's Day is supposed to be for love, and Earth is moving into, oh wow. Sophia says, like, screamed it, and like all these sonic blasts just hit me. She was like, she spoke finally, like she wasn't speaking. They were sending blocks into me, like just blocks of memory. She says, Earth is entering into the frequency of love. And it was like, love, like hitting me. I'm like, and she says, sorry, I had to speak. She's like really loud. She said she talks to me through her head, but she spoke this time because I can hear. But Yanni, whenever we do her healing and I work on her with coaching her and stuff like that, I'm always like, so what does this person need? And she's always like, love. Like we feel silly every time it's like this person needs love, and because it sounds so cheesy and lame, like, oh, they need love. But really, love is what everybody's searching for always, whether it be romantic love or friend love or family love, or like, because love is attention, and attention is light, and light is God, and we want to feel that. We want to feel included. So yeah. So I mean, I'm totally willing to go back to doing shows. I've missed them so much. I feel like we were like, it was like one of those things where we were in a rut. We hadn't started, but I did my classes every day, the chakra cleanse. So I got used to doing classes every day at 11 or 12. So I'm totally down to do a show again tomorrow, if you are.
Yeah, just let me know ahead of time.
Yeah, I will. And I'm just going to leave this set. I'm not going to leave this setup, but I'm going to keep doing my shows out here in this room because it's easier than doing it in the other room. The other room, I think the energy is weird in there, and that's why it always doesn't work in there. Aaron, did they say the Earth's ascension? Like, they didn't say people were going to like die and stuff like that. I mean, like the girl that was all doom and gloom, like, oh, the time is here, Trump is a monster, and we're going to go into war and stuff like that. And she was like giving psychic predictions based on like all this doom and gloom stuff. And I was like, dude, she always would tell people like, oh yeah, your husband's here in spirit, and he says he loves you, but I don't believe him. She'd say stuff like that, doing a mediumship reading. And I'd be like, oh no, I'm not going to send you people anymore. Cause she would make people feel really, really bad. I don't, he doesn't seem sincere, but she was like a man hater. So she didn't like men or didn't believe them. But yeah, she would say stuff like that to people. So now she's out like broadcasting across TikTok. She's kind of viral on there to all these people that the world is coming to an end. I don't know. I want to ask the guides real quick about that real quick. So guides, is the world coming to an end? Peter says, yes, it is.
Yeah. They're not going to give you prophecy. They said they're never going to give.
It is coming to an end. He says the world as you know it will no longer exist. Just as after December 2012, none of you exist in the way that you existed prior to December of 2012. None of you exist in the way you existed prior to December of 2019. If you look at tapes, I mean, he's talking to me. If you look at tapes of me and you, I mean, the difference in what we were in December of 2019, and then even listening to tapes from a long time ago, 2012, it's like totally different tone, totally different people, but we're the same. We're the same people. I mean, obviously people change, we evolve, we grow, but it's interesting to look. Tina, who's on here right now, she said she found her old snow globe, the ones I used to sell a long time ago, the ones that light up. Mm-hmm. She said she found it. She tuned into it, and she said she saw a dead skeleton in the middle. And so I was like, oh my gosh, that's really freaky and scary. And I heard it's because that's the statue. Our statues are dead. We aren't the statue anymore. We're like these flowing, fluid soul beings that think we're the statue, but the statue is dead now. The statue is like, it's bones, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, dust to dust. If anything, they're saying like we're the one holding the snow globe, and like we're like projecting ourselves down into it. But we're no longer physical beings. We're no longer like creatures from the earth. We are cosmic Christ creations. We are plasmic beings that are here as 5D, like beings that can access all these different dimensions of self. But we're so trapped in these little tiny jails, like Madison was trapped in her little jail in her foot. We're trapped in these jails based on our beliefs and our ideas and all like the limiting beliefs that we're told, and just everything. It just keeps us, like you said, in boxes. It keeps us in boxes. So if you're somebody who identifies with race, or God forbid being one of those women, like the women's rights people, those are the ones that drive me nuts, because they minimize women so much, thinking that they're like making women more powerful and strong, or they're fighting for us to stay home with the kids and work and pop out babies and be a man. I'm like, no, I don't want to pop out a baby and be a man. Like, I want to do what I'm here to do. I don't want to be a man and a woman. But like, I was with someone who was very women's activist-ish like the other day, and I was like, ugh, must be exhausting. She's constantly looking at how men are trying to steal. It's that scarcity mindset, the scarcity mindset. Like they're trying to steal what's mine or steal what's rightfully mine or whatever. And it's like, oh, it must be exhausting to be you. I'm so glad to not be with her anymore. But anyways, so tomorrow, but the guides are saying, yes, the earth is coming to an end, deal with it. And the white horse is here, and the black horse is staring straight down the white horse's nostrils is what he's saying.
Oh,
black horse is like staring straight. What that has to mean something. Staring down the white horse's nostrils is what he said. What does that mean? The black horse is like a short little guy, and he's like looking into the nostrils of the.
Well, the progression of the horses is the white, and I always said that I thought that Trump represented the white horse energy, and then the red horse came in 2022 when Biden was starting a war, and we're told that we don't have to progress from the red horse to the black horse and to the pale horse because the white horse can come back in and save the day, so to speak.
Oh, okay.
And so we always had that encouragement that even though everything was going crazy, crazy, crazy during the Biden administration and the red horse, we're being reassured that the white horse can come back in. And if you can go back and listen to our tapes, we say, I sure hope it. I sure hope so. And I always figure that Trump was the white horse energy, not necessarily the white horse, but he represented the white horse energy,
It allows someone
which
like
was,
him to bring truth.
yeah, because the white horse energy is, look it up in Revelation. It's white horse represents peace, prosperity, and tranquility,
Truth.
and truth. And we lost that. We lost that after 2020. And when Biden came in and everything was a lie, everything was a lie. But I was encouraged that Trump was wanting to become president again. I thought, my God, maybe the white horse is going to save us. Maybe the white horse actually is going to. And I always think of the Lone Ranger on his white horse and Kimosabe, and his up on the hind legs, the horse on his hind legs. But anyway, I think of him as the white horse.
Horse on his hind legs. Does it mean why the black horse is staring into his nostrils?
Well, the black horse comes after the red horse, and maybe the black horse is saying, "You screwed me out of coming."
Yeah.
But the black horse wouldn't have come until 2029 anyway. And so every horse is 7 years. The horse started in 2015. The summer of 2015 was the white horse.
No, the red
and
horse
then
I just
the red
horse in a coma.
the white horse is what came. We were told in November of 2014 that the white horse was going to come in about 7 months, 8 months. And then all of a sudden, in the summer of 2015, Trump became a candidate. And you said, "Oh, President Trump." I said, no, he's just run. He's going to run. And you said, "No, he's president. He's President Trump." I went, "Well, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of people who don't believe in that." And
right, I remember
so
that, yeah.
So anyway, so that was going to run from. It either ran from the end of 2014 until 2021, or it ran from the middle of 15 to the summer of 2022. So technically, we're still in the red horse, but the white horse is won. The white horse has come in. The white horse energy has come in, and we're going to have peace and prosperity again.
Yeah, we are.
I mean, I think the white horse has won.
Those aren't gonna have it. Those that don't want peace, those that are like so hooked on like opposition and conflict and all that, like within themselves, they're going to create that. That's what they're going to see. I mean, I've never had more frustrating conversations as I've had lately with someone that I know, where it's like I'll be like texting, and then like they'll just be like, oh, well, say something, and I'm like, that is like it's like people are projecting more lately. It's like they just like they think that you're thinking what they're thinking, but they don't know that they're thinking it. It's like they have no people that aren't like awake, like in their chakras up here. They have no idea what they're feeling, and they just think everybody else is feeling what they're feeling because they can't look at it themselves. And it's amazing to me to be around people that aren't like awake, or even just sleepily walking around, because we've been dealing with this whole awakening thing for so long. Not to say that we're awakened or enlightened in any sense, but at least like our chakras are there, like they're communicating. But you talk to somebody who's dead asleep up there, it's like they're like a zombie. There's no life in them. I mean, you meet people where you just like sit there and you're like talking to them, and you're just like, you can't connect. And that's why, because we have moved up into these upper energy centers, and if people aren't activated there, they're dead inside. So that's where the red horse was existing up here. And for the people that are like asleep still, that red horse, they ignited the red horse. So the red horse can't exist without mass consciousness being angry. Oh, wow.
Yeah. The red horse was Wisdom. Red horse was wisdom and conflict, I believe. Wisdom and conflict.
Yeah.
The white horse was peace and prosperity. The black horse was going to be like famines,
Oh.
just some bad things, lots of bad things happening. And then the pale horse was death, was just
Oh.
death. And so if the black horse is looking up the nostrils of the white horse, it's like, okay, who's going to win? Who's going to win? Who's going to win? Are you going to keep us on this course of peace and prosperity? Or
Yeah.
am I going to come in and succeed the red horse and bring famines and
Oh man.
death and just so many bad things? But that isn't going to happen until 2029 anyway.
I just don't understand why the media would want to create that picture for people, or like would want to, like, all these people that are like, it's like, okay, Trump's president, deal with it. Like, nobody's gonna love it. Nobody. I mean, some people love it, some people don't. But like, it's like the proof, like you say, the proof is in the pudding. Like what's gonna happen, we'll see. Like, you can't like deny that things like will like get better or worse. But it's like people base everything. What the guys are saying is like, just stop basing your life on the personality of another person. It's very codependent of you. Like even just watching somebody in the media and being like, oh, I can't believe that person's a womanizer. It's like, okay, why don't you like womanizers? Who in your life was a womanizer? Deal with that person. Don't hate on that person in the media. That's, don't hate on Diddy because he's a scumbag, or, whatever. Like, people are like all wrapped up with like P Diddy, and like, people get so wrapped up with people in the media that it's like, how did we not know? It's like, well, because you don't know him. He doesn't know you. You'll never know him, and he'll never know you. And you don't know what people do when they're not in front of a camera. And when people are in front of a camera, they're never doing something that's real, even reality TV. So it's like, people are like, oh, I can't even believe it. I just loved him so much. Or, like, people get so like, their lives get so wrapped up in what's outside of them. So Jesus is just saying, make your internal television box, your internal television box within you. Allow that to guide you. And if you're bored, watch that instead. He says, if you're bored, don't watch something to become unbored, because what you're doing is you're just mindlessly staring at a television box to just fill up time where your soul is here to experience life. And if you're not experiencing it, you need to go out and go experience something. Otherwise, you're wasting your life away, in essence. So, experience life, do something. Don't just watch something out of boredom. Don't just look at your phone out of boredom. Don't just scroll out of boredom. If you're feeling bored, ask yourself, if I was to die right this very second, and if I was to be standing in front of the gates of heaven, and I was to be watching a television of my entire life, and I was just watching myself watching something else or someone else, would I be disappointed that I didn't experience everything that I could have experienced? Would I be disappointed? So that's what you need to do, is you need to say, if I died today, and don't say if I die today, but if I was to begin to review my life right now at this very moment, would I be disappointed at the amount of time I've spent mindlessly staring at a screen? And begin to bring your life into the physical, do stuff, be physical, relate with people, and you will feel so much better about your life. And this is a message for absolutely everyone. We bless you. My nose is bleeding. It's going to start bleeding.
Well, you probably have to deal with Yanni, don't you?
Yeah.
Let's just do this tomorrow. If you want to come back on, we'll have some
I
things
want
to
to
talk
do
about.
11 instead, because I'll be ready by then. I was ready today. It's just the internet didn't work. But thank you, Yanni, for healing us. She healed the weird demon in our Wi-Fi. Has a scale. Yeah. Do you see it? She sees it. She says the black horse has the scale. I love that she can see what I see. It's so much fun.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go because I do have my appointment with her in 30 minutes, and my nose is going to start bleeding on camera. So I don't want to be, the camera's back on. Anyways, but okay, guys, we're back. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll aim for tomorrow. I'm going to start aiming for, remember how we used to make it like an hour? We'll aim from like 11 to 12 each day. That way it fits in right when I was doing the chakra thing. And then,
okay.
Yeah. So anyways, okay, great. So we'll see you guys tomorrow, 11 o'clock here on YouTube. And we're on Facebooks and all that stuff too, but we're going to try and build this YouTube channel. So, well, it's good to see you, Papa. Great. Love you. And I'll see you tomorrow. Okay.
All right. Have a good night. Be safe.
You too. Okay. Bye.
Okay. Bye.